Alright, so this is the continuation video of video for the mutation and genetic disorder. So in this in this continuation video, so we will focus on what will be the genetic disorders that can be observed on those individual that has what they call autosomal aneuploidy. So when we say autosomal aneuploidy, there is a different number of chromosomes which is beyond normal that is present on an organism. So autosomal means body chromosome. This is from 1 to 22nd chromosome of our body, and aneuploidy means number of chromosomes. So aneuploidy is somehow the condition of having an abnormal number of chromosome. It might be an extra one or a missing one chromosome. So there are two common observed autosomal aneuploidy. So we have the monosomy and we have the trisomy. All right. So let's start. What are these conditions that is said to be part of the autosomal aneuploidy? Alright, let's start with the errors in non-disjunction. Alright, so what is a non-disjunction? Non-disjunction is the failure of the homologous chromosome to separate properly during meiosis. Alright, so what is a non-disjunction? So during meiosis, the homologous chromosome must separate to each other. Right? So we have two phases of meiosis. We have meiosis 1 and then meiosis 2. The chromosomes there, if you have encountered already meiosis, the homologous chromosome there tend to separate each other. So what is a failure of separation of this homologous chromosome? That is non-disjunction. So this is what non-disjunction looks like. Alright, so this one, what non-disjunction looks like, happened during meiosis. So we will start on a normal chromosome that we have right here. So total number, we have 46 over here. So let's start on this side. Excuse me. Alright, so if the two chromosome there did separate normally, so it will separate the way it should be. So the one that we have right here, the red one, and the blue chromosome over here. Now, if this chromosome or if this cell undergo a normal cell division, so normally it will separate, right? Normally it will separate, both have the same and should be equal number of chromosome. So we have 23 and 23, making it the half, o yan, the haploid, yeah. Alright, so this is the diploid and this is the haploid. Alright, so when the cell undergo non-disjunction in meiosis 2, what happened is these two failed to separate. So what happened, there is an extra chromosome here and a missing chromosome on this cell. Alright, so what will happen if this is fertilized by a sperm cell, or if this is the sperm cell, if this is a sperm cell and it fertilizes an egg cell, so what will happen on the organism? It will have a missing chromosome or an extra chromosome. Alright, so let's take a look on this side. What if the non-disjunction happened earlier? Alright, so what will happen here is, instead of these two separating, they are still attached to each other and making the other cell completely missing of one chromosome. Alright, so this one has an extra chromosome and this one has a missing chromosome. Then on the second meiosis, if it undergoes normal cell division, what will happen here is this one will have an extra chromosome. This one will have an extra chromosome And on the other side also is extra chromosome. And on this particular cell, what will happen here is it will have two cells with missing chromosome each. Alright, so what will happen to the number of chromosome? There will be an abnormal number of chromosome that the offspring might have if that is produced. Right? So that is non-disjunction. Alright, next one. Alright, so example of autosomal aneuploidy, we have trisomy 21. So as you can see, the extra chromosome is happened on or seen in chromosome number 21. So there you go. We have it right here. So instead of having 2, we have 3 chromosomes here on number 21. So what will be the effect? What will be the effect on the organism if you have an extra chromosome on number 21? Technically, it will look like this. Alright, so if you are familiar with a disease called Down syndrome, right? If you are familiar with the disease called Down syndrome, so these are the characteristic of a person who has a Down syndrome. So if you take a look closely on their characteristics, it is completely different on your on your body characteristics. Yeah. So the hands, the feet, and then the facial structure is completely different of a normal person. That is trisomy 21. Alright, next one. Alright, so there are some research that Down syndrome and maternal age are correlated. So as the mother age increases, the incidence of having a Down syndrome on the offspring increases as well. Yan. So that is according to some researches about this syndrome or this disease. Yeah. Alright, so what we have right here, trisomy 18. So trisomy 18, so extra chromosome in extra chromosome on number 18. Yan. So instead of having 2, we have 3 chromosome there. So the disease related to this extra chromosome on number 18 is called the Edwards syndrome. Alright, so Edward, sorry for the wrong spelling, Edwards syndrome. Alright, so this is the characteristics of a person who has an Edwards syndrome. Alright, so alright, next one. Alright, so if we have trisomy 18 earlier, so we have trisomy 13. So trisomy 13, extra chromosome on number 13. Alright, so instead of having 2, we have 3 over number 13 chromosome. Alright, so what is significant here? So this is a disease called Patau syndrome. Alright, so the Patau syndrome, alright, so these are the characteristics of a person who has a Patau syndrome. Alright, so here you go. Trisomy number 13. Next one. Alright, so those are trisomy. So what will happen if the chromosome number is has missing one chromosome? So alright, so in this case we have monosomy on number 23. So 22, 23. So 23 is the sex chromosome. Alright, so 23 is the sex chromosome, and what will happen to the organism if it has only an X chromosome? So we called it as Turner syndrome. Alright, so XO. Okay, so this is what a Turner syndrome or a person who has Turner syndrome looks like. So in other body characteristics, so these are the characteristics of its body, and it has 2 underdeveloped reproductive organs. So one female and then one male. Alright, so please take note that whatever number of chromosomes that we have right here, as long that it has extra or missing chromosome, the organisms here are sterile. Alright, so means it cannot reproduce. Right, so sterile. Alright, next one. We have the Klinefelter syndrome. So in the Klinefelter syndrome, the one that is affected there is here is number 23. So trisomy number 23. Instead of having two only, there are 3 chromosome on number 23. So it might be XYY or XXX. So in this case, the Klinefelter syndrome has XXY. So it has an extra X chromosome. Alright, so this is the characteristic. Now, it looks like a male, but in some cases it has female organs in its body. So there you go. That's the Klinefelter syndrome. Alright, so other mutations that we have right here. So other mutation is albinism. So if you want to know more about mutation or other types of mutation or other kinds of mutation, you may look on this website, alright, list of genetic disorders, so that you will get an idea of what other mutations that might likely to be seen or be observed in humans. Alright, so let's take a look at this albinism. Alright, so albinism. Alright, so the person who has this kind of mutation has inability of producing melanin on the skin. So meaning to say that in a normal person, melanin is produced in order to protect our body from harmful ultraviolet rays. Yeah. So if you have that inability to produce melanin, so your body will likely, or your skin will likely to form cancerous growth, alright, whenever it came contact with sun rays. Alright, so the color of the person who has an albino is white. Yeah, they have white skin. Alright, so next one. Alright, so feel free to pause the video if you want to take on this practice. So in this practice, we will try to identify what kind of mutation occurred in the chromosomes that we have right here. Alright, so let's take a look at the first chromosome here. So we have a missing letter here. So F, G, H, I, J, K, M, N. So there's a missing letter here, which is L. So if the L is missing there, it is said to be deleted, or deletion happened on this chromosome. Alright, so might be that L is inserted on another chromosome that we have right here, over here. So if that happens, so this chromosome undergoes insertion. Insertion. Or even we can categorize this one as translocation. Alright, so insertion or translocation. So let's take a look at this chromosome. So if we will going to observe carefully, so this particular part severely duplicated. So PQ, and so if that certain segment repeated, so we can safe to say that this chromosome undergo duplication. Alright, so there you go, duplication. Alright, so basically that's mutation and genetic disorder. So before I stop this video, right? Before I stop this video, let me leave you one question: is mutation good or bad? How does a mutation become a bad mutation? How does a mutation becomes a good mutation? Alright, so as we discuss what is mutation all about, so if the mutation is caused by an ionizing radiation, So by the way, what is an ionizing radiation? This is a type of radiation that can rip off your DNA molecules. So once it rips off your molecules in the DNA, it will have a drastic effect on how will that DNA sequence will function. So that is ionizing radiation. So what are these ionizing radiation? Ultraviolet radiation, UV radiation, we have alpha, we have X-rays, and we have gamma. Alright, so and we have beta radiation. Alright, so these are ionizing radiation. When this kind of radiation comes contact with your DNA molecule, it will destroy that DNA molecule. So it might likely to cause cancers and certain changes to that particular body part. Alright, so that makes a mutation bad. So not only radiation, but from the chemicals on the food that you eat, when you deliberately ingest mercury, it will cause mutation on your body part. And so if you ingest some harmful chemicals or inhaled some harmful chemicals, it will trigger mutation on your body. Now, sir, when does the mutation becomes good? So mutation becomes good if it leads to what they call evolution, which will be our next topic in this particular subject. So if the mutation is good, it will lead into evolution. Why is it good? Because it makes an organism adapt to its environment. So what triggers that good mutation that we have right there? So the environment itself. So epigenetics, right? So we will discover that one on what makes the mutation good in evolution. All right, next time. Alright, so for now, we'll end up our session with this topic, mutation and genetic disorder. I hope you did understand everything that we have right here. If you want to, if you have a question on your mind, just leave it in the comment section. Alright, so that's it, and have a nice day, everyone.